It's 2018. Timbaland slides into your DMs. The Timbaland. What happens
Yes.
next?
Man, it was so surreal.
I know you coming live from the studio. When it came on, I was
Yeah.
like, let's get around the rink. Hey, it was so just smooth. No more stall tactics, Sandy Benjamin.
And the industry is beautiful, but it has its dark sides to it. And when I started being exposed to that dark side, I found myself getting beat up just by like and not literally but figuratively.
Yeah.
Um, when I started just speaking up.
Extra, extra. Can only play it here. It doesn't even have a release date yet, right, Sandy? So truly,
Yeah, not yet.
it's
It's
only
super
here.
exclusive. Yeah. Yeah, this has been great. If I can, I wanna be involved in anything that you got going on.
What up, what up, what up? It is Saturday, October 12th. After some long weeks of election coverage and everything, I got some pop culture, some artistry, some fresh new music, and the man behind it all is with me now, the Sandy Benjamin, music producer, singer-songwriter, audio film director, all the things he does. Sandy, thank you for being here. How are you today?
I'm good. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us. Today, Sandy will be playing some unreleased music exclusively for Reported with Randi Richardson, our first exclusive. So it's big things happening over here. And so thank you for that, Sandy. Now, I also want to thank you for pausing Not Like Us to join us today. I know you're in LA and California is still playing that song on repeat, right?
Yeah, it's like all day. Like it never stops. It's crazy.
No, Cali is such Kendrick's territory, so I would be more surprised if y'all weren't playing it on repeat. Now, had I known you were from Ohio before I invited you, I may have made a different decision.
Here we go. Here
The
we go.
Michigander in me just continues to hold the rivalry, but do you take that seriously at all?
No, not really. I have such a love for Michigan, right? It's like kind of like
Really?
home for us. Yeah, yeah. When you go home to Ohio, you have a lot of people that loves Michigan as well. Me personally,
I'm
I spent a
shocked
lot
to
of
hear
time.
that. In the
Oh
sports scene,
yeah.
people say that?
Yeah, you got a lot of Michigan fans
Hmm.
in Ohio. It's like it's quite a time, around rivalry time. So but me personally, I spent a lot of time in Detroit and Kalamazoo,
Okay.
Ypsilanti, kind of growing up. It's right there. You guys are just like, a hop skip away. But yeah, no,
Wow.
it's Ohio State versus Michigan is crazy around that time.
Yes, I'll remind everyone that Michigan won that battle last season as we won the
All
national football
right.
championship. But who's keeping count, right? I actually have spent a lot of time in Toledo as well, which is where you're from. I used to be a big basketball player, so a lot of my AAU tournaments were in Toledo, and it's only 90 minutes from where I grew up in Michigan. So it literally was like, all right, let's go down for the weekend, have some good hoops, and get back. So I can relate to what you're saying. Let's talk more about Toledo. Give me an idea of, what your neighborhood was like and what a typical day in it was like.
Yeah, it was Toledo's very small city. You have to have a really big imagination. It was really rough kind of growing up.
In Toledo? Wow.
Yeah,
You don't
Toledo.
hear that every day.
Yeah, yeah, it's really crazy. So you just gotta have a big imagination. You just gotta be inspired. I'm really thankful to have the friends that I did have. Growing up, the inner city was really tough. So during school year, I would be in the inner city, but then like during the summertime, I would just have these cool friends I would hang out with on a farm. I would always have a buddy or something. Their parents or grandparents owned the farm, and just that in combination with just having a Japanese grandmother kind of gave me and my friends just a different perspective on life and gave us some very unique sensibilities. And yeah, you gotta learn how to navigate. You gotta try to make the right choices. You're not gonna make the right choices all the time, but and yeah, I know you know a little bit about that, right? Coming up in Flint. Um,
For sure.
times can be challenging. Yeah, so but I man, I had an besides like some of the mishaps and stuff, I had an incredible childhood. Just was always inspired by the arts, just the art world, and just early on just having a fascination with late night television and stuff like that. Me and my
Hmm.
friends, we were very unique, eclectic black kids who just coexisted any environment, got along with everybody, and it was great.
Love that. So I listened to your last album, Low Income Browsing. This is from 2021. And a few of the songs actually reminded me of Kendrick, just like with the flow, with the voice changes, with the themes that you discuss. And I know Kendrick doesn't have a monopoly on these things, which is why I think Drake has beef with him. But can you say more about your style and some musical artists who kind of inspire you?
Yeah, so it's funny, and thank you for listening to that, by the way. Like that's it's really an honor. Um, yeah, I would have to say first and foremost, Bone Thugs and Harmony has a big influence on me. They're from Cleveland, so of course they were really prominent when I was growing up. And Crazy Bone from Bone Thugs is actually on that album. He blessed me with the verse, and that's really crazy. So shout outs to Crazy Bone. I gotta visit him too. He lives out here in LA, so
Love a casual
yeah.
name drop. And we'll also get it later as
Yeah.
well. Like you really are soaring in the career. It's good to see.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm still pinching myself. It's really crazy. Yeah, I think yeah, so Bone Thugs and Outkast
Mm,
prominent. I remember my parents listened to a lot of Tupac, a
mm,
lot of Biggie. And shouts to my mom. My mom she's really eclectic in her own way. She's very versatile. She listened to everything. She lives like between her and my grandma. They really put me on to a lot of stuff. So I really shouts to my mom. She's really cool. She can listen to like Diana Ross and then listen to Cool G rap and then listen to the Carpenters. I'm just like, Mom, like I
we
don't
love
get it.
range. But what was y'all listening to when it was Saturday morning and time to clean the house?
Oh man, it was a lot of just like upbeat dance and like funk music. Just like a lot of feel good music.
In the Richardson household, it was Mary J. Blige. My mom had those albums just on repeat for a good 10-year span. All the MJB songs.
Oh yeah.
They're like our whenever I hear them, I think back to those memories because it was like the soundtrack for my life at that time. You mentioned that you grew up around music, always been interested in it. You come from a musical family. When did you know that music was the career that, yes, I'm going to do this?
That's a great question. I was I when I found out I was very fascinated with instruments. So it's funny, the first time I heard a piano, I didn't know what it was, but it fascinated me. I didn't even think a human could play it.
Mm,
Like I just thought it was kind of just making sounds. And
that's how
I
I feel about
remember
the harp.
yeah, right. This is right. Like, so, like the harp specifically, it sounds so right. And the harp is like just very, just this warm, luscious sound. It's like a human being is like playing that. That's like crazy. And I just always been just fascinated. I've always been fascinated with like how is this being done? How is this piano or like how are these roads coexisting with like this violin section and how what's going on here in this piece of music. I would like be in school like thinking about it all the time. Like it was weird. And then at the time where I'm a kid, so I don't really necessarily know how to articulate what I'm thinking, but this is just something
Yeah,
I'm thinking about all the time. So I was like, oh yeah, I'm the music guy. It is what it is.
I'm the music guy. You need to put that on a t-shirt or something. We're going to listen to Extra Extra. This is one of Sandy's unreleased songs that is exclusively airing on Report It right now. Thank you, Sandy. You could have given the exclusive to anyone. What made you give it to me?
Well, when I did a deep dive and
Oh, a
I'm
deep
just
dive.
Yeah, I'm really such a, and I don't know if we want to get into that in a minute, but like I've when I did a deep dive into you, I just, I thought I'm like, wow, like, this woman is she just has a beautiful mind, and a lot of the things that you chose to write about really touched me in a very impactful way. So I just thought you would appreciate a record like this. I feel like hip hop sometimes get into this kind of monotonous routine, and I'm always pushing the boundaries, and I wanna push the boundary, and I wanna just do what others are not doing, and I wanna spark certain conversations, and I know you as a journalist and as a black woman would really appreciate it. So
The journalist in me does. Thank you very much. So this
no
deep dive, when did it happen and what brought it about?
this is so crazy. So Cat Williams, he went on his rant, he went on his thing. Cedric the Entertainer comes up. And I'm a big Cat Williams fan, but I
Me
also
too.
like Cedric. And I'm talking to the homies. I'm like, no, I'm like, listen, Cedric is funny. Cedric is funny. Don't sleep on Cedric. Like we know what it is with Cat, but Cedric is funny. So peep this. I go on Hulu, just to kind of go back right. I'm like trying to just show some self-appreciation for Cedric. I type in Johnson Family Vacation, but I don't type it in all the way. I type in Johnson. It pops up, that film pops up, but you had to have like an add-on or something like that. And I was like, oh, I don't really feel like doing that right now. And then for some reason I look at this other show titled Johnson, and I'm like,
Mm,
what? I don't even know why I clicked on it. So I click on it, and I'm reading a bio, right? It's about four black men they're trying to navigate. But what caught my eye, I was like, okay, they all right, met in grade school, still cool in their adult lives, and they all have the same last name, but they're not related. So I was like,
yeah.
all right, let me check this out. Let me click on this. I watch it. I watched the first episode, and I was like, I was hooked. You know what I mean? And I don't want to do any like, spoiler alert. I don't want to like leak anything, but at the end what happens. Your man
Yes, I
Omar,
do.
he gets that call, and I was like, "Ooh, this is crazy. How did I even come across this?" So I really like Philip Smithy.
Mm, how
Really
about that?
good in that. Yeah, he's really good. I really identify with his character. So I'm like doing a deep dive, and I'm like, searching stuff, and long and behold, I see you interviewing him, and I was like, okay, this is awesome. Let me watch it. I watch it. Beautiful interview. Loved what you guys talked about. Then I realized you have written quite a few articles that I've enjoyed reading, including one about the Twitch boss who unfortunately
Mm,
passed from suicide.
yeah.
Um, yeah, from there I'm just like I'm doing a deep dive, and I'm like, wow, okay, like I need to know who this Randi Richardson is. I need to know, and I just seen you really getting in the field, and I've really seen you have just appreciation and passion for what people are concerned about when it comes to their communities, and just how to be prosperous in life. Period. And I watched some seminars you did, and people were asking you like what kind of inspired you to get
Mm.
into writing and journalism and stuff like that. And I was just like, wow, yeah, she has a really beautiful soul.
Wow, you left no stone unturned. Those speaking appearances were a while ago. So thank you. And I'm sure you can relate to this as an artist, like doing work that I'm proud of, putting it out there into the abyss of social media content. Like, is anybody gonna see this? Is it gonna cut through the noise at all? So to hear that is like, all right, it's landing with the people who are watching it and like keep doing what makes me happy and it'll attract more people to it. So thank you for that.
No
But no
problem.
more stall tactics, Sandy Benjamin. We are going to listen to Extra Extra. Read all about it. You can only get it right here on Reported right now, y'all. So now's the
Exactly.
time. Let me pull it up.
Ooh, you got some heat, Faye
Have
Faye.
mercy on us all. Eat my flesh, flesh of my flesh.
We angels turn to vigilantes. Death in our neighborhood, go get the banshee. They hate me, all I'm trying to do is get my mama fancy mansion with a kitchen pantry. Melanated woman can't delete catastrophe, but can she? She did one sacrifice and getting raped for all her family. Massa didn't give a plan B. Got silky blanky for the hanky panky, but I'm cranky. Don't wanna bring a child into this world right now, it's janky. Look how fearful that it make me. Murderous cops and drops of mercury put into babies. Infectious air and mad pollution floating in the Euphrates. Take a swim, you getting scabies. I bring my conga, set up shop right in the heart of Haiti. This discrimination set upon me and do not define me. I follow the word of Gandhi. They took the earth away. This is systematic economy. Hidden disorders just from walking on top of harder ground, cause they cover the grass with concrete. So many coffins ready for these melanated bodies. My rights I exercise, I'm like instructor of Pilates. They don't love us, fucking copy. I had a dream a copper's knee was on my neck to ride me. Out of my life, man. Out of my life, man. Yeah. Excuse me, extra, extra. You need to read all about how I flexed on them low key. You are not the homie. Don't act like you know me. Skywalker, gifted like I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. Used to ride my bike home from events like I was Jody. Excuse me, extra, extra. You need to read all about how I flexed on them low key. You are not the homie. Don't act like you know me. Skywalker, gifted like I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. Used to ride my bike home from events. He told us when the looting starts, the shooting starts. What happened now? Is Trump some type of rapper now? With designer jacket now? Wait a minute, back up now. Look, President tweeting, tweaking, watching panic now. In the streets, the bastards running us over all in traffic now. The sirens on, they acting foul. Straps and gadgets, stashed in savage fashion, cats established now. Snatches badge and pass it to the wolves, go get the caskets out. Hurry and bury the hatchet now. A lot of my brothers and sisters assed out, they got their mask out. I promised them trips from Tunisia to Moscow, but we gotta be agile. Look like the only fast route is organized crime. See, that's the type of shit that will invite the crooked cops to ride. That's murder and hatred combined. We know the project builders made us dependent, making project children. They his and hers for Bilderbergs and other grimy $1 billion corpses bound for trillions. I'm just gonna feed my people fish and bread in my pavilions. I will stick by civilians, victim to the nonsense. Stick together now, if not the killers. How did a peaceful civilization of blacks become the villains? But really though, how did my people just become the villains? Excuse me, extra, extra. You need to read all about how I flexed on them low key. You are not the homie. Don't act like you know me. Skywalker, gifted like I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. Used to ride my bike home from events like I was Jody. Excuse me, extra, extra. You need to read all about how I flexed on them low key. You are not the homie. Don't act like you know me. Skywalker, gifted like I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. Used to ride my bike home from events like I was Jody.
Yeah. Wow, that's great.
Ah, yes. What do you think when you play this unreleased music, knowing people are hearing it for the first time? How do you hope it lands with them?
It feels really great to get it played this way too. This is very surreal. Like to have you kind of debut that right in this way is insane. But yeah, it's like it's a record. It's really important to me, so I really appreciate it.
Yeah. And what message do you want to send with this song? I mean, it gives us environmental racism, it gives us abortion rights, police brutality, inflation, so many things that are big topics right now. And what are you hoping this song would do?
I just want to inspire people to be very confident in what you feel. You
Mm.
know, always trust your gut and be confident. Don't let anyone silence you. Um, you know, we've grown up in these type of environments long enough to know what's needed and what needs to change. And sometimes we don't have the means to articulate that a lot of times, right? But that's why community is important. We need to come together to be able to effectively do that. But I just want people to be very confident and know that what they feel is okay, and to not be afraid to speak up about it.
In the song, you mention a dream in which the police have their knee on your neck. Can you say more about what happened in the dream and like how you process it?
Yeah, it's weird. Dreams are very bizarre. Um, and that dream that actually scared me, right? Because it's something that's happening in real life. Ironically, I got away in a dream, um, in the most bizarre way. It's like I got away and I kind of like ran off into kind of like it was like this darkness, but then it was like really, really far away in the distance. There was kind of like this light, and then I woke up, but obviously like that indicates that like there really is like light at the end of the tunnel. Um, I just remember everyone in the dream just being like really brave. Like
Mhm.
I remember like someone that I didn't know in a crowd. I remember him and like some other people, they came and just kind of like pushed the officer, like just some really like superhero type stuff that in real life you don't really see that because you can't, you know, it's imperialism. They have everything. They have the weapons and stuff like that. You know, when it comes to situations where it's a matter of life and death, that's scary. You know, you
Mm.
can actually lose your life. But yeah, it was like a it was the dream was very terrifying, but it was also very promising, and it was yeah, it was something that I would like to have happen to you know, some of the victims who lost their lives in those situations. But yeah, very bizarre dream, very bizarre.
Yeah, and also random, like, because you haven't had this account encounter in real life or even been pulled over yet, have you? So it's like, where does it come from? But at least you got to use it for creative expression, which I think if it's gonna happen one way or the other in reality or in dreams, at least you can use it as fuel for your craft, which is a really nice silver lining. So I'm gonna just keep going through the lyrics. Of course, I like extra, extra and the whole chorus because the reporter in me is like, yes, read all about it, get the newspaper. And that line is back when paper boys literally used to like throw newspapers on yards. My dad was a paper boy up to like 14 or 15. You don't really, see that anymore.
Uh,
But you mentioned in the song, which is why I brought up the kids, is that right now with the way the world is looking, you don't want to have kids. So what does the world have to look like for you to want to bring kids into it?
well, I always I think about the way I grew up, and it's much different than now, right? Obviously, but you know, this is an interesting thing of when we kind of grew up. I was born in the 90s, and
Me too.
you know, technology wasn't where it is now. And I love technology, right? But technology can have a certain impact for better or for worse. Um, you know, I felt like when I was kind of growing up, it was rough, but I feel like because the technology wasn't so advanced, um, it really taught you certain lessons. Like there was a certain faith and a certain patience that you had to have, and you had to learn how to navigate through situations. You had to learn how to get out of certain situations.
Problem solving skills for sure.
Yeah, you had to really learn how to look someone in the eye. You had to really learn how to have a firm handshake. You had to really learn how to interact respectfully with people, and in forming those relationships, it goes a long way. Um, and with everybody, not just like people you see at the grocery store, like in the neighborhood, but just like I remember like I growing up, I remember like seeing interactions between just regular civilians and like police officers. It was great, you know, and then later on I found out, yeah, police officers and like people in the neighborhood, they used to take care of each other. Were really? That's crazy. Because on the news, they just only showing one thing. Um, and for some reason, I just have this fear of like, I don't know if this is this is kind of weird to say, but when I was coming up at a certain point, my parents, my mom and dad really couldn't protect me as much as they probably have wanted to protect me. And I feel like that about like if I was to have kids, but like for some reason, like this new world is like Because I always say if I have a child, like my child has to be like, if I have a daughter, she has to be with me all the time. I want to write on my harness on my chest, going to the
Oh,
studio. I want to do her hair. I want to put
hey,
it.
we love an involved dad. Helicopter parent, that's something different, but being involved, I can definitely like co-sign that.
Yeah, because you don't want to let your kids out of your sight. And sometimes me and my friends we were in really dangerous
Mm,
situations. But I feel like maybe just kind of like the zeitgeist of that moment because of where we were in that point in time, we kind of had the skill set to, just kind of survive and navigate through that. And you know, I I just look at it nowadays and I don't really have that much confidence in like where we're going like as a society. It just sounds so weird. It sounds weird and I'm like saying it out loud, but that's just how I really feel. So
yeah, no, a number of my friends don't want kids. So you're not, the only one who's feeling this way. And the way I like to think about it is, even in those times where I was figuring it out or problem solving and didn't want to tell my parents, they had previously planted seeds in me where in that situation I still knew what to do, even though they weren't there and I didn't consult them. Like they still had me covered. And I've had this conversation with both my parents, and they're like, yeah, we can't protect you from everything. We can't be there all the time, but the best we can do is like give you the tools and the skills and the connections that you may need when anything pops up, and just hope that in the moment you recall them and act on that. And when I think about it like that, I'm like, you know what? That does make a lot of sense. That feels like security. And then, as a person of faith, I'm like, yep, God's gonna get them. I can plead the blood and cry out and all that, and what I can't do, God will. Which is a great segue to the next question. You really have to be listening to catch this line. It's a bar for bar song, so maybe we should actually play it again so that people can get it. That's okay. The people can rewind and play it back. But one of the lines is, "I follow the word of Gandhi." And I just wanted to know, are you saying you believe in peace, or you're Hindu, or both?
yeah, sure. We could say both. I definitely believe in peace. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I mentioned him in the song because the way he went about it was very God was definitely on his side because his story is he really went through the struggle, but even how he got the respect too is like very it was still peaceful, but it was like very you just don't see situations like that all the time. He's really like an anomaly because the way he really got the rights for like his culture and like for them to be able to vote at the time, right? Because there was a lot of like
The peaceful act.
racism going on and stuff like that. But he he's like, look, guys, we've been I've been doing this peace thing for a while, and we still don't want to fight. You know what? I'm not eating. I'm just gonna sit here until you treat us fairly. I'm just not gonna eat, and I feel like that made the enemies go. He's not gonna eat, guys. Like we have to give it to him. Like
Mm.
he's not even like we've been provoking him and we've been like poking him for so long, and he's not even like fighting back in a way where we thought he was gonna fight back. Like let's give it to him. That's so rare. Usually you just have people like, you know what? I'm swinging. I've been I've been being
You
patient with
really are
you.
from not the suburbs, because I listen, in my neighborhood we disagree. What time? Where? After school? I can relate to that. Yep, you're
Exactly.
right.
No, so he just had this faith in just this he had this intangible faith in just just making sure that him and his people had a prosperous life and he was gonna stick to his morals and stick to his values and be unapologetic about it and I just want to make sure I mention him in it because I don't think I would have that much patience. I would be putting the plan together like, look, we gonna hit him with a decoy, and then we gonna go around the back, and then we gonna hit him like. But yeah, shouts to Gandhi.
Yeah, there's so many different strategies to achieve the same goal, and it is like such a 360 lens to be able to see different people deploy different ones and what the outcome was, like Gandhi or MLK or Malcolm X, and how, it all contributes to the freedom struggle and mobilization and stuff. And I think just community care in general, when the government is not responding or responding in a unfavorable way, is such a model that, Black communities and other communities have used to make ends meet, to pay bills. I remember my aunt used to take me back to school shopping every year. And for the last year, she just gave me $300 instead of going to the store with me. And I was like, oh man, it's kind of the end of a tradition here. Can we do it together? She's like, no, go ahead. So the next time I went over her house, this was maybe a week later, her cable was cut off. And I was like, is this because you just gave me like school shopping money? But she knew how important the tradition was for me, so she still gave it to me. And I'm like, I love her already, but just that alone kind of solidified the community will show up for you. And the collective action is just a even bigger example of that. Um, Speaking of community, you have a lot of baby boy references in this song. Black classics in general are like just cinematic hugs and heirlooms to all of us. Is Baby Boy your favorite movie?
Yeah, it was a classic. It was a classic growing up. It's funny. My mind goes in so many places when I'm writing records. When I was writing that particular record, uh, even just get down to the science of how I wrote the hook. If you like listen to the hook on surface level, it just kind of sound like I'm like kind of flexing on, just anybody, but it's not. It's like no, I'm like actually flexing like on the government and just like the higher ups and
Yeah.
you know these margins that society puts us in. But um, when I think of classics like Baby Boy and stuff like that, it's funny. I was very young when that came out, and I really didn't know a lot. Especially I didn't know as much as I know now. And it's so funny, you ever get to a point where you're like reflecting, or you might like take a walk and at a place that you spent a lot of time at in your childhood, and you're like, oh, okay, this is all I had to do. I just had to do this, this, and that, and just been a little patient, and then I would have got here, and then oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's like it's interesting. I think of that time, I was it was kind of like the way they did it in the Baby Boy film was very comical, right? They kind of like they kind of exaggerated it, like when he's getting on his bike and he's like pedaling real fast. It's like that's hilarious, right? And I remember being a kid and kind of doing something similar. I'm on my bike, I'm like just going to my cousin's house, my friend's house, but I just remember not, because I was young and I was a kid, I didn't have the purpose, and I wasn't on the mission that I'm on now. And
Mm.
it's just so fascinating to me that it's like I'm the same person, but like just the mission and the purpose is different. And so yeah, that was kind of my mindset when I was making that reference.
Yeah, no, definitely being mission focused. I hope you're not in love with your mama like Jody was. I used to really like that movie, and then somebody else pointed that out to me, and I'm like, dang, I guess it was a complex there. I had never really picked up on it before because all the other storylines are so great. But the last lyric I wanted to ask about was tweeting presidents. I do think social media has been a huge part of this election, that both campaigns, Harris and Trump, are using social media posts to get their word out there and all of that. What's your take on like Coconut Tree and Truth Social and all of that?
Well, it's just an opportunity to, just kind of bring different communities together and stuff like that, and just to kind of have something to talk about, right? I I enjoy a lot of those tweets because and then even in the song, like, I'm coming at Trump and stuff, but I think he's a I think he's a brilliant business guy. I think I don't have any real like thought or like hatred towards him or anything like that. I think he's a funny guy. I think when it comes to these type of candidates, I think there's like a lot of flaws on both sides, when it comes to the history and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm sitting back. I watch these tweets. I click on those hashtags and I'm just kind of seeing people's thoughts and stuff, and I'm just like, this is like this is so hilarious. Like, this is America, people. This is what these people are like voting. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah,
like crazy.
I've been talking to voters, as you know, and a lot of them are like, "Yep, I'm following along. I'm definitely politically engaged, but I don't 100% support either because they all come with this whole list of baggage." And then they go, "But I am still voting for Harris." And I'm like, "Okay, well, if that's what it comes down to for you, because I think that may be a cohort of her voters." So you have another exclusive unreleased song, Punching Bag. We're not going to play this one. Sandy says you have to wait until it drops on election day. He's already been generous with the one unreleased song, y'all. So get it while it's hot, extra, extra. Can only play it here. It doesn't even have a release date yet, right, Sandy? So truly,
Yeah, not yet.
it's
It's
only
super
here.
exclusive. Yeah.
Super, super exclusive. But Punching Bag, I actually did get to listen to it. Thank you for that. And it opens like a skating song. I don't know if you grew up skating, but I did. So when it came on, I was
Yeah.
like, let's get around the rink. Hey, it was so just smooth. And it's told from the perspective of a punching bag that takes the blows from different people for different reasons. And I just love that as a concept. How did you come up with that?
You know, when you when you're going through certain things, life can be tough. And a lot of times, when you're struggling, you're trying to figure out things, you're trying to figure out your way in life and trying to find a purpose and find a place. You just kind of feel like that. You feel like sometimes you feel like it's only happening to you. Sometimes you feel like these things are happening to you
Yeah.
instead of them happening for you. That's really important. And yeah, it got to a point where when I got into this industry, when I started and the industry is beautiful, but it has its dark sides to it. And when I started being exposed to that dark side, I found myself getting beat up just by like and not literally but figuratively.
Yeah.
Um, when I started just speaking up, and because I want to keep my integrity. I have values, I have morals, and when you speak up, people try to make it seem like you're crazy, and they kind of like write you off and they shun you and turn a cold shoulder on you. And I was like, oh wow, I really see what this is. But unfortunately for you guys, I am very impactful and I do have a voice and I do have to speak on this because there's a lot based on the record, like there's a lot of people who aren't appreciating us, meaning black people. There's a lot of people that just want to stand next to us because it makes them look cool. They love everything we bring to the table, but they just don't love us, and it's just very disappointing. And I've experienced it firsthand many times, and it's scary, it's uncomfortable, and it's like, wow, these are real people, and these people are like getting really big opportunities. I worked with these people before. I've been friends with these people before. I've been in relationships with these people before, and it's like, wow, this is a thing. This is like a phenomenon, and I don't really hear anybody, speaking about it. So yeah, I felt like a punching bag, and I was like, yeah, this would be a cool concept to write about. And yeah, the state of hip hop, we got like you're talking about the Kendrick and Drake beef and stuff. We got like these beefs going on, but I just wanted to talk about the real beef, if
I
that
was
makes
about to say we can talk about the Dot and Drake beef if you want to, but I know this song is about all the other things that you just mentioned, and I feel as though it couldn't be more timely because, in circumstances like a presidential election year, there's always a rallying cry. There's "Strange Fruit" by Nina Simone. There's "F the Police" by NWA. There's "We Are the World" by Michael Jackson and them. And now we have Punching Bag by Sandy Benjamin. Can you speak more about the song and how it fits into Black music being a tool of resistance?
Yeah, sure. So this song is basically, it represents it obviously represents Black excellence, but it represents us Black creators who feel kind of beat down by kind of like this exploitation. When you talk to a lot of Black creatives behind closed doors, it's funny, but like they really feel like they don't have an outlet or a way to kind of express what they feel, right? And this tension with like, non-Black creatives and stuff, you it's it hides in plain sight. You never could really see it, but it's something that's felt,
Mm,
right? So it's like a lot of times people, when I talk to a lot of Black creatives, they feel like a lot of times they actually feel like they want to just they want to put their head down, stay focused and keep going. Because they feel like if, they just come out and say how they feel, it may not be as compelling or as polarizing, right? Because it's just not like it's funny in a weird way. You were kind of talking about this with Philip Smithy.
mm,
Uh, a lot of times people don't want to say certain things or express certain things if it doesn't have like a some sort of shock value or like a jaw-dropping kind of negative connotation to it,
yeah.
right? But we need it. It's just as simple as, hey, I've put a lot of time and effort into this thing and I feel like I'm not appreciated for my art. That's that's powerful. You know what I mean? And yeah, I feel like that really contributes to where Black creatives and like Black art has really taken this industry and taken this culture over time. I mean, we're doing a really amazing job in the art space. I'm very, very proud of us. 'Cause like now you see like people are now they're just kind of now starting to accept us and starting to realize like, oh yeah, like everything that they represent is like it really is cool. It really is the standard. They really do have amazing and compelling stories. They really do have something to say. They really are intelligent,
How
you
about
know.
that?
Yeah.
And I think the song ends, or maybe three-fourths of the way, you list famous Black creatives who are putting on and representing with honor. Who's your dream list of five people to work with?
Wow. That is a great question. All right, let's make this quick because I will have you here for another 3 hours or something like that. Let's go with ooh, this is hard. Whoever I leave off the list, forgive me. Let's go with let's say Donald Glover,
Mm-hmm.
Issa Rae.
Mm,
Um, hmm. Let's go with Jordan Peele.
mm. You can make a song for a horror movie. I see it.
Oh yeah. Um, I'm gonna go unconventional a little bit here. I'm gonna go with uh director Barry Jenkins, who
Mm,
did Bill Street Could Talk,
mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna go with The Shy has some really beautiful moments. So let's go with Lena Waithe. That's
Mm. Starting five. That's a good pick.
yeah.
That's a good pick. Okay. Um, Let me get to my little notes here. So also in the
Okay.
song, and this is the last question, then we can get to some other stuff. But you have a line that says, "I'm not obligated to deal with you because we family." And I feel
Mm.
like everybody reaches a point in their life where this is the conclusion they come to. And boundaries are critical, especially with family. So at what stage of life did you decide, okay, that's it. I'm setting this boundary and I'm enforcing it. Equally as important, the setting and the enforcement.
Well, yeah, like so you're a woman of faith, so a prophet is never welcome in his own home, and familiarity breeds contempt, and no one can hurt you more than family can. So when I found this out the hard way.
Oh,
Um,
sorry.
you have to really have faith in yourself and what you represent and what you can do. And you have to make sure you have that mentality of like, no one can stop me. Like not even this family member who I love so much, whose opinion I value so much. I can't even let them stop me. Because it
Mm,
gets to the point where like and mind you, I have very especially now, I have very supportive um family members. And you have some naysayers and stuff like that. Um, but when you're confined into kind of one type of environment, you really haven't seen the world and you really haven't experienced certain things, you're not you're not really gonna instill certain values in others, right? Because you're kind of only seeing things one way. It kind of reminds me of the scene in Pursuit of Happiness, right? When
mm,
Will is telling Jaden, he's like, don't let anyone tell you you can't do anything, not even me.
yeah.
And
What a
so,
thing. It still gets me. So I can relate to that because both my parents are therapists. So our conflicts kind of manifest in them trying to micromanage and fix all my problems. Whereas sometimes I'm just telling them just to vent, to, get it off my chest and move on with my day. And my dad, he specifically likes to play peacekeeper. So it'll be like, he'll text me about, oh, okay, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. And I'll tell him like whatever is going on and how I'm feeling about it and who I'm mad at. And then he will forward that text message to the person that we're talking about.
oh
And the
wow.
person will respond and he'll forward me their response. And I was like, this is recent, like within the last month, he started doing this. I was like, Dad, can we get on the phone? Why did you think this was good to do? And he was like, oh, well, they'll give me a different answer than they give you. I was just trying to help. And I was like, no.
Like, no, this needs to be confidential. This is between
This is
us.
confidential. Why are we forwarding text? Now, remind you, up until a couple weeks ago, he still had a BlackBerry. So he literally can forward a text message like you forward an email. Now he has a Google Pixel. So it's like he has to copy paste it. It's more. So he hasn't done it. Plus, he respected my boundary. But just little things like that, I'm like, man, it's you learn how to navigate it with age. And I clearly I had to get that off my chest. Anyway,
Oh yeah.
back
Yeah. It's extreme, yeah.
yeah, and his heart is always in the right place. But I'm like, there's
Of
got to be
course.
a better way. I want to be able to speak in confidence to you.
Of course, yeah.
You've connected with Timbaland. We mentioned this at the time.
Yes.
We're finally circling it back to that. He helped you get a job at a company where you can place your music on TV shows and films. I mean, I feel like you're living every new artist's dreams, right? That's exactly what they want. So it's 2018. Timbaland slides into your DMs. The Timbaland. What happens
Yes.
next?
Man, it was so surreal. He and until this day he doesn't he won't tell me. I'm like, yo, big bro, how did you find me? How did you find the video? He like laughs or he ignores it. He won't tell me. But yeah,
Wow.
he slides in my DMs like, man, you're dope. I'd like to work with you. I'm like, this is crazy right now. It's like you're Timbaland, bro. Like I remember like growing up and like seeing my cousins and like dancing to Aaliyah videos and stuff like that in the living room, and this is insane. And from there, he just was giving me a lot of advice, dropping gems on me. I was working at the post office as a carrier at the time in New York,
Whew.
in the Bronx. It
Oh,
was
okay. I'm
crazy.
in
Yeah.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that was crazy. And we like, and one day, I think shortly after that, he would like share some of my videos and like put it on his Instagram story and stuff. And then, he's like, yeah, yo, just here's my number. Call me. So
Timbaland giving you his number. Wow. How soon did you call after getting that message?
right away, right away. And like you said, the year is 2018. For 2 years, we're just on the phone. I get on the phone with him sometimes when I'm like carrying mail on the job, and
Wow.
we talked for 2 years before we do anything, and it was to the point I didn't think we would ever work at all. I didn't think we would do anything. I just thought he was like, oh, okay, he's just someone. I guess he wants to help me kind of navigate through this industry and just give me advice, and I was okay with that. I was like, this is great.
Hmm.
No, and pandemic year comes, 2020 comes, and this was like right before they announced like the shutdown and everything. And we started shooting these really cool videos, and I was editing everything, and he was kind of impressed by that. He was like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "Oh, you produce too?" Yeah. He's like, "Oh, okay. Yeah, let's do these videos. Yeah, we just gotta find an editor." And I'm like, "Oh no, I edit." He's like, "Oh wait, you edit? Like you do it?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh yeah, like let's keep making videos." And I helped him launch his B Club platform for producers and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah, that was a very, very surreal moment. And so he's very prominent in a lot of stuff that's happening with me until this day. And so
Hmm.
yeah, his there's a company called Anthem Entertainment, and they own his publishing company as well as the Sync company that he introduced me to and exposed me to in their Five Alarm. Shout outs to the beautiful people at Five Alarm. Shout outs to my man Steve Chevy, who I work with closely. Yeah, and the rest is history. And that has been this journey just has been so amazing. And I had to really, really work really hard, and it wasn't easy. That's what I want everyone to know. It was not easy. A lot of dead end jobs, a lot of sacrificing, a lot of beans and rice,
Hey,
not just scraping up change for the metro, for the train, you know what I mean? So shouts to everybody that be down there, hooking us up with the $2 rides, you know what I mean? Just in case you ain't got that 75 cent, you know what I'm saying? But
man,
yeah,
I just jumped the turnstile at the train not even a day ago. Sorry, it just
you
and they
gotta
keep
do it.
price. At least here it was 225, then 275, and I was 290. I'm like, this is criminal. Anyway,
Yeah, wow.
feel like I was talking about this with Philip as well, which is trusting the process, trusting the journey, and along the way you get these mini wins that are like, yes, let's keep going. And this was a huge milestone, and now you're kind of in between milestones. So what does that next milestone look like for you where you're like, yes, again, another win?
Oh, well, I think it's a matter of really just manifesting a community of writers. I think this is how we are where we are now. I have such appreciation for writers. I love when I'm watching interviews from directors and stuff like that, and I love hearing about the writers' room. I love stories. I always say everyone wants to sit around a campfire and listen to a good story.
That is
Um,
true. I
I'm
love
working,
it.
yeah, and I'm working on a very big story myself. Um, I feel like it's very much so like my Donald Glover slash J.K. Rowling moment. I've written quite a few stories. I thought the low income browsing story was very beautiful, but um,
Yeah,
I'm
it's a great
definitely
album.
oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I thought, and by the way, it's so funny. Low income browsing. This is what I want to double up on. I didn't even know what that album was gonna sound like because I wrote a screenplay for that.
Oh, really? Hmm.
Yeah, because I thought it was such a beautiful story to tell about just my small hometown. And so I didn't know what anything was gonna sound like. I was kind of just like pitching it, and I was like, well, I might as well just like make it an audio film. And so I think that is the next venture to kind of bring all the writers together to contribute to this story that I think is going to be very impactful. So it's gonna be
Okay.
it's gonna be a heck of a journey. and I'm
A
excited.
heck of a journey. And I feel like how you connected with Timbaland and also like Chloe and Halle, how they got their start on social media is such a good example of how you can launch a music career these days. And it's a blessing and a curse because you start getting followers, you start getting more attention, and immediately the fans are demanding new music. So here we are today playing new unreleased music. And I know people are thinking, well, when is the release date? She didn't even ask them. So I'm asking you now, when is the release date? Is it too soon for the fans to be demanding new music? I know you're working on what you just said, but the people would love an album.
You know what? You know what I will say about the release date? I will say that I always have something up my sleeve,
Okay.
and the end of the year is coming up, right? We
All
got in
right.
between now and December. I get a lot of work done in a matter of 2 to 3 months. So
Okay.
yeah, I definitely I'm not leaving the year out quietly. So let's leave him with that.
Leave
I
it to
got something really special.
All right. We got the tease here first, y'all. Sandy Benjamin, thank you. I promise you an hour. I know you coming live from the studio, so you got to get back to session. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was such an honor. I really I look up to you. I think you have a beautiful mind, beautiful soul. This means so much to me. Thank you so much.
Thank you.